SpaceX. Since 2002, they've made things like reusable rockets, launching astronauts from American soil, and global satellite internet seem, well, almost normal. But behind all that incredible engineering, have you ever wondered how the business actually works? That's what we're going to break down right now.
So what if I told you that by 2030, SpaceX could be worth $2.5 trillion? Yeah, that's trillion with a T. It's not a typo, it's a real projection from the analysts over at ARK Invest. The big question is that just science fiction? Or is there a real-world business plan that could actually get them there?
Over the next few minutes, we're going to pull back the curtain on the SpaceX machine. We'll follow the money to see exactly where it's coming from. We'll look at the absolutely explosive growth they're experiencing. And yeah, we'll even explore how you might be able to get a piece of the action.
First things first, how does SpaceX actually bring in the cash? I mean, we all see the incredible rocket launches, but the real business model is a lot more interesting than just that.
It really boils down to three main buckets. You've got commercial launches for other companies, you've got massive government contracts with partners like NASA and the Department of Defense, and then you have the big one, their incredibly ambitious Starlink satellite internet service.
The launch business, that's the foundation of everything. See, by figuring out reusable rockets like the Falcon 9, they didn't just innovate, they completely broke the market. They slashed the cost to get to orbit so dramatically that they could undercut pretty much everyone, and they just started hoovering up launch contracts from around the world.
But the real game changer, the engine that's going to fuel all of their future growth, is Starlink. And this is not just another internet provider, we're talking about a massive constellation of thousands of satellites working together to blanket the entire globe in high-speed internet. And as you're about to see, it's quickly becoming the financial core of the whole company.
All right, let's get into the numbers, because honestly, the scale of SpaceX's financial growth is just as mind-blowing as its rocket science.
So check this out. This is where you can really see the massive shift that's happening. For 2024, total revenue is estimated to be over $13 billion. But look at that breakdown. Starlink is projected to bring in $8.2 billion of that. That completely dwarfs the $4.2 billion from their original launch business. The side project has officially become the main event.
And this isn't some slow, steady climb. We are talking about a massive leap here, from $8.7 billion in revenue in 2023 to a projected $13.1 billion in 2024. That's a 50% jump in a single year. That kind of insane acceleration is exactly what gets investors so excited.
So what's pouring fuel on that fire? It's all about the subscribers. The Starlink customer base literally doubled in 1 year, going from 2.3 million people to 4.6 million. That kind of exponential growth is the key to their entire financial model.
And all of this growth translates into a valuation that is just astronomical. The company's value in the private markets has been on an absolute tear, reportedly jumping from $210 billion in mid-2024 to $350 billion by the end of the year, and it's projected to hit $400 billion by mid-2025. I mean, that pace is just almost unheard of for a company that's already this big.
Okay, so here's the really crucial part. All this money, all this growth, it's not just for making a profit. It's all designed to fund a much, much bigger ambition. Let's take a look at the future.
So this is what they call the Earth Flywheel. The best way to think about it is like a self-funding engine. The cash that comes in from launches and all those Starlink subscribers gets plowed right back into building more rockets and more satellites. That increases Starlink's capacity, which lets them get more customers, which generates even more cash. And you can see a slice of that cash is already being pulled off for the ultimate goal, research and development for Mars.
And that brings us to the Mars game plan. The strategy here is crystal clear. Once the Starlink network is fully built out and just printing cash, the plan is to go all in on colonizing Mars. The entire Earth-based business is essentially just the funding mechanism to make humanity a multiplanetary species.
And the economics of Starlink are projected to get even crazier. This chart shows that as the network's total bandwidth, that's the red line, just explodes upwards, the cost for each megabit, the green line, is expected to absolutely plummet, eventually landing 75% below the current US average. If that happens, Starlink becomes a huge competitor not just in rural areas, but everywhere.
Okay, so you see this explosive growth, you see this galaxy-sized ambition, and it leads to a very practical question for a lot of people. How do I get a piece of this?
So let's just tackle that question head on. How can you actually invest in a company that seems to be completely reshaping the future right in front of our eyes?
Well, here's the big roadblock right away. SpaceX is a private company. You can't just pop open your brokerage app and buy shares of it. And that's on purpose. Elon Musk has intentionally kept it off the public markets, at least for now.
But that doesn't mean you're totally locked out. There are indirect ways you can get exposure. Now, for accredited investors, that might mean getting into some venture funds. But for most of us, the most accessible routes are investing in other space companies that are publicly traded, or probably the easiest way, buying into space-focused ETFs.
Here are just a few examples of those ETFs. You've got funds like ArcX, UFO, and Rocked. And what they do is bundle together a whole portfolio of public companies in the space industry. Now, let's be super clear, they don't hold private SpaceX shares, but they give you a way to invest in the broader ecosystem, everybody from satellite part makers to other launch companies.
So why stay private? Well, Musk has been very clear on this, especially when people ask about spinning off Starlink into its own public company. He said he wants the business to have smooth and predictable revenue growth first. Basically, he wants to avoid the pressure of hitting quarterly numbers so the company can stay focused on its incredibly risky long-term goals.
And those long-term goals, well, they are central to how this company is ultimately valued. This model shows that while the Earth-based business, that green part, is what drives everything today, the value that's attributed to the Mars mission, the red part, really starts to become a major factor after 2030. That is the long game.
So as we wrap this up, we're left with a really fascinating question. It's not just about what SpaceX's final valuation will be. The real question is what that value will represent. The unbelievable cash-generating machine that they're building for us here on Earth, or the absolutely priceless achievement of building the first human city on another world?